This video is sponsored by Deep Cut Studios. For a wide range of fantastic gaming resources such as battle mats, dice trays and pre-painted bases, check out the description below.
Hi guys and welcome back to the Warriors Table. My name is Tom and in this video we're going to be reviewing the new Malifaux 4th Edition 2-player starter set. And this is kind of a rarity for the channel, doing an unboxing and a review. That's because this is a really important box. Malifaux has lacked a starter set, for want of a better word, for at least one edition, and even the one that was in 2nd edition wasn't quite of this level. So this is currently RRP pre-order for about £90 to £100 here in the UK. Obviously a little bit more depending on where you are based, and it features two smaller crews that are designed to play off each other while also teaching you the rules, and that is featuring the Banished of the Neverborn faction, scary fish people who drag people into the depths, and the denizens of Ampersand of the Outcasts, who are like a machine faction city that have kind of kept to themselves a fair bit but are now being brought into the lore. And if I flip the box over, you can see this is quite a packed set. So you gain a number of miniatures for each of the two crews, which are made out of pre-assembled single-piece plastic. You get the bases for them, which we'll show off in a minute, but it also includes fate decks. Malifaux uses poker decks rather than dice, which are included faction-specific, measuring widgets, tokens, and a how-to-play / quick start guide, which we'll be able to show off as we go. So I'm going to move the box out of the way. I'm going to spoil the unboxing fans that I've actually pre-unboxed. I know, heresy there. And we've got a variety of bits and bobs that I'll be able to show off. So we're going to get the bases out of the way because I'm going to show you the miniatures in more detail in a second. The first thing I want to show off is this. So this is a wondrous thing for Malifaux to have included, the quick start guide. This is a smaller rule book where it will teach you the game in a series of, I believe, 5 encounters, where you start off with 2 models, just attacking and defending, and you start to add creations and add objectives in until you get to a final fight for number 5, which basically gives you a full game of Malifaux using masters, totems, and all the sub-mechanics that go with it. There's a handy reference before that of basic mechanics, as well as a little blurb on the lore. And at the end, it points you very well of where you can go for full games of Malifaux, including the comprehensive rules, which is a living online rule set, which gets you up to speed for playing full games, and the Malifaux app, which is, in my opinion, the best app that exists in tabletop gaming. It's very, very clear. Currently in beta for 4th edition, but I think it's set to be released in the next week or so. So that's really, really good, really handy to have on hand. The only thing I could say is when you have these scenarios that build up knowledge, Corvus Belli tends to do this a lot, where they give you like a playthrough. It might be a little bit tricky to kind of flick back, but this isn't a beat by beat, flip this card, do this. This is kind of, this is what we're introducing this game, have a go at doing it, and then you can come back. So it is a little bit easier to find something if you need to flip back. You're like, okay, when did I do empowering jewels, or when did I look at engagement? Oh, actually, it's really nice and clear and laid out here. So put that to one side. Next up, we've got our tokens. So you can see here, 2 sheets of tokens, very easy to punch out, which is very, very nice. You can see one of the measuring widgets is trying to escape here. These tokens are really good. They're double-sided, which is really handy. So if we take a bolstered token, for example, this little plus here, if I flip it over, you can see it's got a different colouring. So if you and your opponent both had the same status condition, you'd be able to tell whose is whose. Quite a lot of them have got alternate conditions on the back as well. So for example, if you've got hastened, which means you go quicker, you've got injured on the other side, which means you go slower. So it means that you're not taking up massive amounts of space within your storage facilities or anything like that. And then the main event that I'm sure most people are looking at, let me get this out of the way so you don't have the glare. We have this box which has miniatures and fate decks. Now I'm going to take the miniatures out in a second. I'm going to blue tap them to the bases and then I'll be able to show them off in a little bit more detail for you. You've got your 2 fate decks. So I'm going to draw obviously the best faction, the Neverborns. So Malifaux, as I said, uses a poker deck as we wrangle these out, which has its own suits. And you can play Malifaux with a poker deck, but it's better to have this version because these have the suits that are used. It's easier to read. So you've got crows, tomes, masks, and rams that are available. And you can see this has kind of got basic art for each suit. And then when we get to the named cards or the face cards, you can see you've got artwork that appear. And a nice touch is, depending on the suit, you've got different artwork. So as you play with this deck, you will be able to spot quite quickly which suit you've got, not only by the fact it's really clear, but but also by the character artwork. And then you've got your two jokers. Black Joker means bad news, red Joker, good news. So that's the Neverborn one. I'm sure people want to see the Outcast one, and I am also an Outcast player at heart, so, you know, the Tara player in me feels that this is necessary to do. So you can see, nice little yellow hue to the symbols that go along here. We've got a variety of characters here. We flick through again. There's the best girl. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Bum, bum, bum. That's our tomes. Ignore this little scumbag, evil little bugger that he is. And then, here we go, Rusty Alice, because Levy's dead. Hooray. And there we go. So those are the fate decks. So that's how you used to play the game. And then, additionally, you've got this stack of cards here. So this is what I'm going to talk through in a little bit more detail. So, one thing that Malifaux 4th Edition has changed, along with a lot of streamlining, is your strategies and schemes, i.e. the way you score points, are variated in different ways. So when you run a scenario, you basically generate a scheme, which is currently one of these 4 in the Gaining Ground 0, which is like your seasonal updates. And what you can do for this one is you kind of tick off as you're scoring points, and you try and do this each turn. And Malifaux 4th Edition allows you to score on turn 1 now. It's been a lot more streamlined because it's a 4-turn game, not a 5, so it doesn't take forever. So these are always in play, one of them. However, a really cool feature now is your scheme. So when you generate a pool for a game, you essentially generate 3 schemes at random. Let's say you've got these 3, and you can score 1 or 2 points for each. The first point is usually pretty straightforward. If we take Breakthrough, for example, it's basically get in your opponent's deployment zone and drop a marker. But for the additional VP, you have to do one on the center line and your deployment on top. And then once you've scored it, you put it to one side and then you pick one of these 3. So it's kind of like a flow chart. So you would then have a choice of Assassinate, Public Demonstration, or Frame Jobs. And then let's say, for example, you chose Assassinate, basically kill a model, favorite of mine. You've then got another flow chart that you go through, and you can keep scoring these ones. I think you can score a maximum of like 6 points for these, 1 every turn, if you were scoring the double for each. So they're really, really cool. And they kind of flow and update as you go. As you would expect from Weird, they're very good at providing guidance sheets. You know, Moonstone are great at this as well, where you have just tips and general actions and what the icons mean and all that kind of stuff, how to do duels, really useful. And my favorite thing, so let's show this off. So you've got your crew cards here, and I'll go through them more in a little bit, but let's just pick the Outcasts. So each crew now has a master, a totem, and then the models that come with them. Each of the crews in this box equate to 32 stones. Most games in Malifaux are 50 stones, so basically you would buy another box, which is due to come out later for each of these factions to round them up and basically have the whole keyword. But you also have crew cards, which are basically dependent on your master. Now, this is a really cool thing that they're starting to do now, is they're giving you 2 of them, because yes, you've got your crew card, which tells you the things that your passive abilities or that your crew can do, but you can give one to your opponent, and that's really, really important, so they can keep track of it. And on the back, it has listed all the conditions that your crew puts out or interacts with. So again, you and your opponent are able to see like conditions very easy and kind of keep track of it. So we'll pop those to one side. As I said, single piece plastic miniatures that come with this box. You can see pretty good sculpts. I'd say that Malifaux, in particular Weird Games, have been hit and miss with their pre-assembled. But what I'm going to do, like I said, is I'm going to blue tap them to the bases, and I'll show them off in a little bit more detail in a sec. And here we are then at miniatures level. So we're going to have a look at these. First thing I will say is very little cleanup needed. There's a few bits that I'll be able to point out to you. I would say the Neverborn half in particular have got a lot of crisp detail on their sculpts. I was expecting the kind of growths of coral that were on the Shorebound Sentinels to be a little bit kind of, I don't know, should we say sullen or sunken in, but actually they're really, really clearly defined. I think will take paint well. The only negative I can point to is some of the ampersand models, their contact points, and Weird are never great on this. Some of their contact points are really, really little. Fortune Teller in particular will be able to show it off in a second, but I'll show you the miniatures up close so you can see. So in Malifaux, each master comes in 2 variants currently, which are titles. So in this set, for the Neverborn, you've got the Banished Leader, which is the Silken King, and this is the long-lived one. And his whole shtick is that he can kind of manipulate scheme markers to affect the enemy, and he can gain soul stones through his ritual dagger that you can see here. But really, really nice detail on him. He's got a lot of depth to kind of where, like I said, the coral and the shells kind of blend into his, I don't know, carapace, I don't know, cloak, whatever you want to call it. But there's a great sense of Cthulhu mythos, you know, to him. He comes with his totem. Each master has their own totem, and each variant of master has their own totem. So because this is the long-lived one, we get the urchin, who's a great little gribbly. Here he is. And he can put out concealing. He can stop his allies from being battered too much, as you can see the smoke coming out the top here. And he's also pretty tanky in his own right. So gorgeous little sculpt. My favourite sculpt from this lot is actually perhaps the most diminutive one, which is the Silent Siren. So, as you'd expect by her name, she's very good at kind of forcing enemies to do things they don't necessarily want to. You can see an example here of a little cleanup that you might need with an X-Acto knife, a little sharp knife, just to take the little bits where it's met sprues and moulding. But yeah, I just like the kind of ethereal, floaty nature. And obviously, you know, we can see the influence on the design with her head. You've then got the colony, which is big, scary jellyfish boy over here, who puts out injured, unsurprisingly, when he moves through models, because he just batters them with tentacles. This is what we call a unique model, just like the Silent Siren. So this isn't a minion, this is like a named model. So you will get different sculpts for everything in Malifaux, but some sculpts might represent a minion, which is like one of 3 maybe you can have, or you can have unique models. And it's like, this sculpt is this thing, there's no others that you can hire on the board that are like him. So an example of a minion are our shore-bound sentinels that come on these 40mm bases here. These do exactly what you'd expect them to do. They can put out a little bit of armor with carapace action. They're pretty good at beating, they're pretty good at tanking hits. And like I said, they've got really nice detail on them. I think they've come out really, really well. I think they are definitely going to be one of those where you can layer on a few base coats to kind of blend them all together, put a nice wash on them, and give them a little bit of a dry brush, and that is pretty much going to be them done. But I think Chris on the channel's having these guys. I'm sure he'll do infinitely more because he always does beautiful paint jobs. But if it was me, I think it's very easy to get some bright, vibrant colours, dull them all down a little bit with a wash, and then just pick out the odd bits of the coral, and I think they will come out really, really well. So yeah, I'm impressed. The Neverborn sculpts are always unique, but having these guys who are like the gibbering hordes that are in the other side game by Weird added to it is a nice variety. So over to the ampersand then. So the master that comes with them is the Clockwork Queen, and the variation we get in this one is the Matriarch of the Machine. And when I saw the artwork for her and the render, I really wasn't sure about this model, whether I would like it or not. And I think as I've just had a little look through and put her on her base, she has grown on me quite a bit. I do like her quite a lot. Her key shtick is like she can basically remove remains, which is like scrap from the battlefield, to give her crew benefits. And she's also pretty robust in combat. She's pretty tasty, I'll be honest. She comes with the Bucket Bot, just a minion, but with, not a minion in a Malifaux sense, minion is in a film series sense. He's a bucket bot. He does bucket bot things. He's quite cool. He can put like an oil spill around him, which makes it hard for enemies to get to you. A unique model with a terrible contact point is this one here, the Fortune Teller. And as you might expect from this one, it's very good at kind of looking at your deck and seeing what is coming next and being able to kind of make sure jewels go off when they need to. And they can even scry and have a look at your opponents with some of their triggers as they go off. We've got Big Boy Steiner at the back here. It's a piano with a crossbow. I don't know what more to say. His contact points are his wheels. You can see I'm holding him a little bit tighter here, just so he doesn't wobble off the blue set, but I imagine he'll be okay once he's glued down. Even though these are single-piece plastic, I'd recommend using super glue. I wouldn't be melting them with the plastic glue. I think I'd just super glue them down. I think that'll keep them there. And then we've got the Mechanical Misfits, who are the minions. And like I said, both crews are 32 soul stones. The idea is that this half of the keyword, banished and ampersand, the models that come in this box are slightly more straightforward, and then the other box that you'll be able to pick up, which has the other title of the master, the other totem, and the other models that come in that crew, will probably add a little bit more complexity to the mix. But again, they're robots. They're robots. They've got a cute little personality to them. I'm going to be trying to paint these guys up a little bit. I'm tempted to just give them a undercoat of a silvery colour and then maybe pick out, I don't know, on the artwork you got a lot of yellow and brass. I think I might go maybe blues and oranges. I'm not sure yet, because this boiling pot one here is pretty cool. So yeah, the miniatures are of a good standard. I think you get good amounts, like 32 soul stones is really good to be getting on with. The way that Malifaux is being packaged now is each core box is going to, like I said, be half a keyword. So I imagine they're all going to be around 32 soul stones level. So even if you've got a mate who doesn't want either of these crews, and they pick a box of Anya or Pandora or Zip, whoever it happens to be, what comes in one box is probably going to be the equivalent models-wise of one of these. So you'll be able to play against your mate straight away. Malifaux works best at 50 soul stones, I'm going to be completely honest there, and you'll want to scale up. Like 2 boxes to get an entire keyword is amazing. If it's not one of these, and with this one, you just buy the other box that you want. So say if you split this with a mate, there'll be another Clockwork Queen ampersand box and another Silken King banished box, and you just pick that up and you've got the whole keyword. And you could either paint them up all together, or you could get these guys done and go from there. In terms of the learning aspect, as I just reach over and grab the quick start guide, my favourite parts about this set is that it comes with all the cards that you need in terms of schemes and strategies. We recently ran an event, literally this weekend just gone, where we made them for our players to use, and for me personally it was really handy just being able to have them on reference, not just using the app. Because if I check my phone, I'm scrolling through trying to find it, whereas actually just having the card in front of me was a lot better. I like the tokens, I think that's standard practice now. The only thing I'm undecided about is this. I think this is really good for a new player coming in to learn how this starter set works, i.e. these models and their mechanics. In terms of learning the entire game, I think there's still going to be a little bit of a jump from this to 50 soul stones, as you would expect. But you know, that's what we're here for. We're here to make things like how to play videos like we did for 3rd edition. And that wasn't just a shill. I'm just thinking, I'm a teacher. This is not necessarily how teaching games is the best in my approach, but I think it's good to have. The other thing that I would say is obviously the price tag. £100 is a lot of money, especially in the current economic climate. You do get a lot of items for your money. I'm trying to think of comparative price points, like how much the Earth's Mightiest core set is in MCP, or how much the collector's edition of Walking Dead or the Fallout boxes or Warcrow. It's roughly around about that kind of same level, I would imagine. And while those boxes might provide things like terrain or additional things that go with those games, you are getting full cards, full rulebook, full tokens, measuring widgets with this one. So I think it does kind of equate. It's just weird in 2025 having starter sets of things be pushing £100. But if you can split it with a mate, 50 quid, absolutely 100% get into it. And then you're probably going to spend another £30 for the other box when that is released. So that is the Malifaux 2-player starter set. The last thing I want to mention is where you go next. So if you're wanting to learn about the different crews in Malifaux, well, you can stay right here on this channel, because we have master overview videos that exist for the game, which are going to be restarting this month, covering all the 4th edition keywords. But if you look back at the 3rd edition ones, you can have a very good look at the flavour that goes with it. Likewise, we did a 2-player starter set, kind of how to play video, which is going to be up on the channel soon, using both of these crews. And then we also have our podcast, The Malifaux Show, which is pitched at your more casual player base. If you're into your kind of more competitive, we're not the ones to go for. But if you want to just chat and hear about people talk about their experiences with crews, we are hopefully the place to go. So a massive thank you for watching. If you want to ask any questions, pop them in the comments below, and I will do my best to respond to them. And I will see you in the next one. Take care. Well, a massive thank you for watching that video, guys. Really hope you enjoyed it. If you want to find some more, they should be over here. And if you want to support the channel and the content that we create here, there's links to our Patreon and merchandise in the description below. Take care.